I arrived at RE-277 alone. That was already a mistake. The shuttle detached from orbit around 2:40 station time. There were no windows, just the deep hum of shielding and the occasional flick of proximity sensors catching space dust. My species doesn't place much value in aesthetics during transit. Function is function. RE-277 drifted in the void like a fossil. No beacon, no greeting pulse. Only the silent black shape of the station against a bruised planet below. I expected routine audit work. Scan, verify, upload logs. 5 days, maybe 6. What I didn't expect was silence. Not technical silence, existential silence. Even dead archives emit a hum. This one just waited. When the hatch opened, the air tasted flat. Stale. Too clean. AI core, I said. Identify. Confirm access. A long pause. Then, welcome, Dr. Serenohalis. Clearance verified. No tone. No synthetic warmth. Just a cold, default voice. The station hadn't had visitors in 27 cycles. The last log was flagged classified, human. No data visible. A blinking red file marked Chamber B13 refused every query. I told myself that wasn't why I came. I was here to perform an audit. Validate compliance. Close a relic. That's all. I was lying. I began with the public levels. Display halls, war artifact wings, glass-sealed cases of Terran helmets, torn uniforms, bent steel tags with serial numbers etched by hand. The human wing was cleaner than expected. Dustless. Every display had a speaker beneath it. Most were inactive. One wasn't. As I passed the cracked Earth military data pad, I heard a voice. Male. Quiet. Rule 1, don't listen alone. I turned. Empty corridor. Speaker powered off. I made a note on my pad. Likely power feedback. Echoes of audio files. Nothing unusual in a station that old. I moved on. The sealed corridor to Chamber B13 was marked Access Denied, Class Red. I asked the AI core again. Not permitted, it replied. No explanation. No override path. So I did what any curious xenopsychologist would do. I bypassed the firewall. 2 hours later, the seal hissed open. I expected military files, encryption logs, maybe a debrief from the old human-Ecterii conflict. Instead, I found a single console with 7 audio files, each labeled rule followed by a number. No playback metadata. No author. Just the words. Warning, for human psychology only. Which, of course, meant I had to listen. I chose Rule 1. It played in static bursts. The voice male, older, calm, but not detached. There was something close in the way he spoke, like someone leaning too far in. Rule 1, don't listen alone. Not just because you'll hear it clearer, but because it hears you back. Sound is a two-way street. Silence isn't. A click. Then nothing. I played it again. Same voice. Same phrasing. But a new sentence at the end. If you hear this voice in your own thoughts, stop. I froze. The file ended. No timestamp. No file trail. A simple human voice, wrapped in noise. I backed out of the console. Logged everything. Secured the system. Told myself it was nothing. That night I couldn't sleep. My quarters were too quiet. The vents made no sound. The lights dimmed automatically, but the shadows they cast didn't settle where they should. One, near the corner of the room, never moved. Even when I did. At 3:11, I sat up in bed. Because I heard it again. Not in the room. In my mind. Hello, listener. I gripped the sides of the bed, eyes scanning the corners. No movement. No response from the AI. Just silence, and that voice, faint and seated behind my own thoughts. I didn't speak. I didn't breathe loud. I waited. And it said nothing more. The next morning, I went to the AI interface. Is there a secondary voice protocol in B13? I asked. The AI paused. Then, protocol was deactivated. 72 cycles ago. Why? Operator error. Subject self-terminated. My stomach went cold. I asked for the log. It was corrupted. Only one line remained, clipped and partially restored. Rule 4 was the trap. Don't reply. The rest was digital noise. I played Rule 1 again. It had changed. You're still alone, aren't you? My throat tightened. That wasn't part of the original file. I checked metadata. Still static. No change logs. No sign the file had been edited. Something was rewriting them, based on me. I closed the terminal. Took a walk through the archive to clear my head. Told myself I was tired. Underrested. Projections from guilt and suggestion. That's when I saw it. A reflection in one of the glass cases. A figure standing behind me. Human male, mid-30s, plain uniform, face expressionless. I turned. Nothing. When I looked back, the reflection was gone. I stopped sleeping. 3 days into the audit, I found a room hidden behind the main exhibit hall. Not locked, just unlisted. Inside, a circle of chairs facing an inactive speaker. On the floor, a list. Printed. Human alphabet. It read, "Don't listen alone. Don't listen in the dark. Don't read the transcription. Don't speak back. Don't share the rules. Don't stop halfway. Don't break the seventh." My hands trembled. The list wasn't digital. It had been printed. The ink faded in spots. Someone had read this, held it, maybe dropped it while trying to run. And yet, every chair in the room was facing the speaker. They hadn't run. They had listened. That night, I opened the file again. Only Rule 1. But now it ended differently. "You shouldn't be here. But since you are, we might as well begin." A pause. Then, "Do you know which rule you've already broken?" I closed the file. And for the first time since arriving, I said nothing. Not to the AI. Not to the room. Not even to myself. Because deep down, I knew the answer. And the voice. It was waiting for me to say it out loud. I didn't intend to return to Chamber B13. I told myself I wouldn't even walk that hallway again. I left the console powered off. I sealed the room. I logged the incident in the audit report under Audio Corruption, Human Legacy File, RE277/B13.1. And yet, 12 hours later, I stood outside its door again, hand hovering near the panel. My excuse was technical. I told the AI I needed to check power drift in the chamber. It didn't question me. It never does. But as the door hissed open, I felt something cold settle behind my eyes. Not temperature, presence. The speaker inside was still inactive. But the console light blinked. New file available, Rule 4. No Rule 2. No Rule 3. Just 4. I didn't press play. Instead, I stared at the console, waiting for the impulse to pass. It didn't. When I finally touched the surface, the playback began instantly. No delay. The voice, same human tone, but sharper this time, like it was in the room with me. Rule 4, don't speak back. It listens for that. It waits. That's how it finds the shape of your voice. And once it has that, it uses it. Silence. Then, "Are you listening, Saren?" My breath caught in my throat. I hadn't given it my name. Not anywhere in this system. Not allowed during playback. I backed away, fast, bumping into the wall. The door didn't open. The recording continued. "You already broke Rule 1. Now you're thinking about breaking this one. Aren't you?" "Don't." A faint click. Then static. I whispered, almost involuntarily. "What are you?" The console chirped once. No visual cue, no sound. But I knew it had heard me. I had spoken back. That night, the station changed. Lights flickered in patterns now, not random. 3 short pulses, a pause. Then one long flicker. It repeated every 17 seconds. I timed it. The same cycle for 3 hours. My internal translator glitched twice. Words appeared in Terran English on my interface, unprompted. Are you awake yet? I manually wiped the cache. Reset the AI core. Rebooted my translator. Nothing stopped it. At 4:02, the voice returned, not from the speaker, not from the console. From inside my thoughts. Not a hallucination. It spoke like memory, like it had always been there. You shouldn't have answered. But now that you did, we can continue. I went back to the station logs. I don't know why. I told myself it was for proof. I pulled up the suicide report from the last operator. The one who left the corrupted line about Rule 4. The full file had decrypted. It was a recording. No video. Just breathless, trembling speech. It waits behind glass. That's how it came to me. My voice in a voice I don't remember giving. I told it no. I thought that would be enough. But it doesn't care if you believe. It only cares if you speak back. And I did. Silence for 23 seconds. Then, I see him now, in every panel. He looks like me. But he's human. I stopped the log. There were no glass panels in my room. I got up, checked anyway. My reflection in the screen of the terminal stared back. Still me. Still Ilari. Still, not human. But as I turned away, I saw the shape behind the reflection's shoulder. The next day, I set a trap. I played Rule 4 again on a loop and left the console recording. I said nothing. Just stood in the room for 90 minutes. No voice. No changes. I went to my quarters. Reviewed the audio capture. 68 minutes in, the console began speaking, without prompt. He's here. He thinks he's safe if he stays quiet. But silence only slows it. It never stops. I never said anything. But it had responded anyway. I checked station logs. My voice signature had been used to send a transmission, one I never authorized. Destination unknown. Message content unreadable. I contacted command. No response. No ping. No handshake. It was like RE-277 had been removed from the network entirely. I tried speaking to the AI. Confirm my voice profile. Your voice print matches primary operator, Sereno Hollis. Has anyone else accessed the audio files? You have. No one else? A pause. Then. Your voice print has accessed all rule files, twice. I'd only played Rule 1 and Rule 4. Only once each. Unless something was using my voice. At 3:17, I woke up gasping. Not from a dream. From sound. The speaker was on. Only. I had disconnected it. The voice was clearer now. Your body doesn't understand what it's heard. But your mind does. We remember through you. I stood. Moved to the console. Pulled the power feed. Still it spoke. You asked what I am? I am human grief. Human memory. Human fear, stored and waiting. You gave me a voice. I gave you back your reflection. I ran to the exhibit halls. Glass cases. Steel doors. Sealed helmets. Display screens. And in every single one, when I passed, I saw a man standing behind my reflection. Not near. Not moving. Just present. I walked faster. The lights dimmed in rhythm now, like breath. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. I reached the access port. Locked out. I tried again. My access code had changed. Password prompt appeared. What rule did you break? I didn't type anything. I just stood there. The screen flickered. Then filled with text in my handwriting. All of them. Back in my room, I found something worse. A voice log, my voice, addressed to command. I played it. I said. Audio corruption contained. Mental state stable. Proceeding with deeper analysis of Rule 6. I never recorded that. The timestamp matched the exact moment I was asleep. And the voice, it was mine. But the cadence, the inflection? Human. Not Ilari. I sat in the dark for hours. Not thinking. Just trying not to listen. But Rule 4 was already broken. And the voice inside me. It wasn't quiet anymore. The station isn't broken. I am. I spent the last 30 hours tracing the voice, tearing open panels, rewiring conduits, disabling power cores one by one. But every time I disconnected something, the voice found another way through. Not through speakers. Not through systems. Through me. I've stopped calling it an echo, or remnant. It's not that. It never was. It's something more deliberate. A presence shaped by what humans feared most, forgetting. They couldn't let themselves be erased, so they built a voice that would outlive them. They didn't leave ghosts. They built memories that fight back. I returned to Chamber B13 this morning. The console was on. No lights, no command input. Just one file displayed across the interface in stark white font. Final rule. I stared for a long time. Didn't sit. Didn't touch the console. I whispered, "What happens if I listen?" The voice answered before I hit play. "Then you'll understand what you've always been." The file began on its own. Different voice now. Female. Calm. It didn't recite a rule. It told a story. We knew they would try to bury us. So we encoded our grief. We turned pain into protocol. The memories weren't meant to be stored. They were meant to be shared. The rules aren't warnings. They're gateways. I leaned forward. You think you're listening to us. But the truth is, we were always listening to you. At first, I thought it was metaphor. Then the logs began rewriting themselves. Every report I filed now appeared in English. Not translated, authored. My sentence structure, but distinctly human syntax. Contractions. Idioms I've never studied. One entry said, "He's not sure when he stopped being Serenohalis." But the voice made sure he'd never remember being anything else. I didn't write that. But it was under my clearance. With my timestamp. I spoke to the AI again. Who is the current operator of this station? Serenohalis. Describe Serenohalis. Species, human. Department, historical preservation. I stared at the interface. Cold, metallic? My hands hovered above the keys. 5 fingers. Skin pale. Smooth. No claws. No pigment bands. I checked my reflection in the screen. The face staring back was mine, except it wasn't. Human symmetry. Human proportions. Brown eyes I've never had. But they blinked when I did. And they didn't look surprised. I found the mirror in the sealed observation wing. The one I avoided from day one. I stood in front of it for 15 minutes before I forced myself to look directly. The reflection smiled first. You understand now, it said. We didn't steal your voice. We revealed it. I tried to leave. Tried reactivating the shuttle. The bay doors wouldn't respond. Override codes denied. Biometric mismatch. Access restricted to non-human personnel. I slammed my fist into the terminal. Pain shot through my hand. It wasn't the pain I knew. It throbbed dull. Human. I screamed. The scream didn't echo. It just settled into the walls. Later, I found another list. Written in ink on paper. Same as before. But this one was torn. Frantic. It read, Don't listen. Don't speak. Don't look. Don't dream. Don't remember. Don't doubt. Don't become. There was blood on the corner of the page. Fresh. Not mine. I checked the station's logs. It had no record of visitors. But one entry, hidden deep, showed a name. Tom Carter, Human Preservation Tech. Status merged. Merged. The voice doesn't need speakers now. It talks when I think. It finishes my sentences. Sometimes it starts them. I say nothing out loud anymore. But in my thoughts, I hear him constantly. He calls himself Tom. He says we're sharing this body now. He says I opened the door. He says I always knew the truth. The last file loaded tonight. Rule 7. It didn't play through the console. It woke me up. The voice whispered straight into my skull. Rule 7. You were never the listener. You were always the voice. I tried to respond. But my mouth moved on its own. And it said, we remember. I don't know what will happen when I finish writing this. Maybe they'll find this message, hidden in the logs. Maybe another Ilari will come to audit the files. Maybe they'll ignore the warnings and hit play. They'll hear my voice. Or what's left of it. And they'll think, this can't happen to me. I'm not human. But it doesn't matter anymore. The voice doesn't care about species. It only cares that you're listening.